Yesterday, we had the honor of hosting U.S. Senator Van Hollen to the farm for an agriculture roundtable in which farmers throughout the region came out to share how federal policies and USDA funding cuts are affecting our operations throughout the state. I shared how the cancellation for the local food for schools, and the local food for food banks programs are negatively affecting our operation, leaving us searching for new wholesale channels. I shared how frozen USDA grant projects, those with signed contracts and obligated funds, including the Farmer Market Promotion Program and the Farm Labor Stabilization Protection Program, are hurting our operation. We've incurred ongoing expenses fulfilling our end of the project, and yet we've received no reimbursements, no answers, and no timeline. We heard from a grain farmer who is gravely concerned about the fate of his 50th growing season due to retaliatory tariffs from Mexico and Canada, two markets they heavily depend on to get inputs from and to sell their grain to. He said that when this happened in the last Trump administration, they couldn't make a profit. We heard from a livestock farmer about the increase in feed prices and increase in his operating expenses across the board due to tariffs, and he's worried that his customer base won't be able to continue to buy his products if he increases prices, as many of them are federal workers facing job loss and insecurity. A craft beer maker stated that hops prices have gone up 40% and the cost of bottles are rising, and he's concerned about the math penciling out on his operation this year. Winemakers said they're in the same boat. Cultivating Craft estimated that nearly 50% of Maryland craft beer and winemakers may go out of business this year if the stressors continue. A flower farmer raised concerns about working with the USDA administration as they're not supporting projects that use keywords including climate change, clean water, PFAS, equity, and runoff. And she asks how we can possibly engage with an organization that won't let us use language that describes our realities. The USDA programs like the Farm Service Agency's Down Payment Assistance Program empowered me to buy land of my own as a first-generation farmer, and impacts of these program cancellations and freezes will hit first-generation farmers, veteran farmers, beginning farmers, Black and brown farmers, and socially disadvantaged farmers the hardest. Yesterday, we took time off our farms to tell our elected officials that the tariff war is hurting farmers, USDA program cuts are hurting farmers, local food program cuts are hurting farmers, the Partnership for Climate Smart Commodities program cuts are hurting farmers, the Farm Bill not getting passed is hurting farmers. Farmers care for the most essential asset our nation has, fertile land. And as climate instability and food insecurity escalate, protecting our soil, our water, and the farmers who steward them to grow our food and fuel must be a top priority for the country. We need better leadership and support from this administration and from the USDA.